Do you need a sorcerer build that has insane amounts of AoE damage, as well as being able to do all types of content, and incredible single target damage, as well as being completely universal and not requiring any uniques? Then I have the Diablo 4 Season 4 sorcerer build for you. What's up world, it's Utopia back in with another video. Today we're checking out all things Diablo 4. Okay, so first up we'll jump into the skill tree. I'll go over all the skill sets and skill abilities that you should be using. I'll jump into the Paragon board as well as all the different items that you should be using and glyph sockets as well. Then we'll move on to gear and different legendaries that you should be using, as well as the potential uniques you could use with this build. But before we jump into it, Season 4 has a ton of new stats and different variations with different builds. And if you need help with a different build guide or even different builds in general and just helping with your entire playstyle, then check out today's video sponsor.
Mobile Linux is an insanely intuitive and innovative app that lets you deep dive into an incredible amount of useful tools for all your build creation needs. And this free application, and yes, you heard me right, it is completely free. This app has helped me so much with my build creations and comparing and contrasting different statistics. I was able to find incredibly interesting and different unique builds compared to mine, and even got to try out Crypt's ultimate fire sorc. I love being able to glance over at my stat priorities and build priorities just right within the game. And the new highly anticipated build planner is available now to use directly in-app. And this allows me to completely redefine my build and plan out new strategies without having to use any of my precious gold. Again, you can download for free using my link down below. Thank you again to Mobalytics for sponsoring this video.
Okay, so first up, let's just jump right into the skill tree. Of course, we're going to take Firebolt as you're going to want that as your skill assignment that I will go over later. We'll jump into Spark and we'll go 5 of 5 because we don't have too much to put into. We'll go into Enhanced Spark and then Glinting Spark for that crit chance. We'll go over and get Fireball, as again, that's going to be also in our skill assignment list. I do like taking Potent Warding, so I will take 1 into that section there. Jumping down, we'll go into the next section here. We're going to take Teleport, and then we're going to jump into Enhanced Teleport, as well as Mystical Teleport, which is a new ability here, or a new damage modifier that allows us to get the Crackling Energy. Next up, we're going to take 3 of 3 Glass Cannon. Jumping down, we'll go into Ice Armor, and then we will take Enhanced Ice Armor, but we're going to skip out on the next 2 as they don't really provide us with much itself. And then jumping over, we're going to take Elemental Attunement and just 1 of 3 in that section. Going down here, we're going to get 3 of 3 on Align the Elements, as this will give us a ton of damage reduction and it will ramp very fast. We're also going to take Mana Shield, which will give us even more damage reduction every time we're spending mana, which this build is very mana hungry, so that's going to be great for our damage reduction. And then jumping down, we'll take Lightning Spear, which has got a lot of revamp to it, and then we're going to take Enhanced Lightning Spear as well as Summoning Lightning Spear to get that Crackling Energy as well as the more damage. Jumping down to the Mastery skills here, we're going to take Inner Flames 1 of 3 because we need to take Devouring Blaze. In order to get Devouring Blaze, we have to put 1 of 3 in there. We're going to take 3 of 3 Devouring Blaze as always. And then we'll go, of course, 5 of 5 Ball Lightning. Since this is a Ball Lightning build, we're going to take Enhanced Ball Lightning, and then next up we will take Wizard's Ball Lightning. We'll take 3 of 3 Static Discharge, and then 3 of 3 into Invigorating Conduit, but we're going to skip out on Shocking Impact because we don't really care for the stuns and they just don't provide enough damage there, or we're not getting enough stuns quite frequently. However, you could jump into Arc Lash here if you wanted to go with the stun build and kind of swap that up, so there is a multi-spec there if you did want to switch and change that up. Jumping down here, we're going to get Fiery Surge. I like this for the mana regeneration because all the enemies that are burning are going to allow you to get even more mana regeneration, which again, this build is very mana hungry, so I do like that. You could skip out on this one and apply it to something like Shocking Impact if you do go for that stun build, although I do like the mana regen. Of course, we're going to take Unstable Currents. We do really want our alt, and we're going to go to Prime Unstable Currents as well as Supreme Unstable Currents. We'll go into Coursing Currents and then into Electrocution. We're going to skip out on Convulsions as we don't really care for the stun, and then also Conduction, which doesn't really matter. It'll just increase our movement speed. However, this is more so of a play on Isu's boots if you do use those, but we're not going to be using those with this build specifically. And then jumping down, we're going to take Veer's Mastery over the Overflowing Energy. Jumping over to our skill enchantments, we are going to take Fireball enchantment, which does the Explode on downs, which is really, really good for us, and it's going to apply to everybody that you're partying with in the dungeons. And then we're also going to take Firebolt, which is going to allow that burning damage. Our direct skills will apply burning damage, and that will give us increase with Devouring Blaze as well as some other skills, and also in our Paragon, which we'll jump over to quickly. So for the Paragon board, this isn't completely done up yet. However, this should provide you with an insane amount of damage and really good resistances. We're also going to be maxed cap on resistance currently. Again, I'll have this Paragon board and all of the info down below, but I will go over the glyph sockets as well as the boards. So jumping over, for our first glyph socket, we're going to take Elementist. For our first board, we're going to jump into Ceaseless Conduit and then jump down into Destruction glyph socket. For our second board, we are going to get Searing Heat, and jumping into our glyph socket, we're going to take Flame Feeder. Now again, I recommend not going for any of the side stuff now, as we really want to focus, especially while you're leveling. As you see, I'm only level 88. We're pushing to level 100. While you're pushing levels, you don't want to go for any of these side stuff as much currently, which we will go for later, especially the damage reduction stuff. We'll probably grab some of the stuff here. However, for now, you're really going to want to push the glyph sockets, as that's going to provide you with that X damage multiplier. That's what you really want specifically. For our next board, we're going to jump into Burning Instinct as well. For our glyph socket, we'll take Charged. For our next board, we're going to jump into Elemental Summoner, and then for our glyph socket, we're going to take Unleash. Our second to last board here, we're going to take Enchantment Master, and then for our glyph socket, we will go into Tactician, again giving us that 10x multiplier to our damage. And our last board here that I'm still working on is going to be Exploit, and that vulnerable damage that we will apply to, which is the Static Surge board. And this will be our last board here. We will have 7 or 8 boards depending on your level, so this will probably be just the 7th and last board. However, I might try to work in 8 boards with this build. For now, we're just going to take 7, as this will give us the most amount of X multipliers, as there isn't any further. Again, a link to this build will be down below, so you can go ahead and check out that Paragon board specifically. Now jumping over to our gear, the most stuff that matters is going to be our damage multipliers, but you're going to want some damage reduction stuff too. So for our imprints and our legendaries, we do want the Barrier Absorption, which is a really good legendary. We're also going to take here the increased armor for a certain amount of seconds. This is going to give us a ton of damage resistance. Next up for our multipliers here, we're going to take the vulnerability damage to deal damage to vulnerability while you have your barrier active. Here, Tybalt's Will is pretty much a given. You're always going to want Tybalt's Will no matter pretty much any build that you run on Sorc, so this is going to be a given. The boots we can swap out. We have Yen's Blessing right now. I really do like these because of the vulnerability damage, as well as getting our primary resource and the damage reduction here. This is going to be a nice one here, but you can swap these out for Isu's. Next up for our equipment here, for our dagger, you're probably going to want not Chance to Lightning projectiles cast twice. You're going to want Ball Lightning. However, I have run this one and not been able to re-roll this one. Currently, can't get a better dagger at this point, so you're going to want to just go with what you can there, but you probably will want to get that chance for projectiles to cast twice on this itself. And then the imprint there, we're going to take Ball Lightning. That's going to give us the increased damage with that. For our offhand here, we're going to take the 23x multiplier to barrier damage while that's active. And then for our rings, we're going to take deal 10x multiplier damage, which is going to allow us to get that standing damage. And then for our other ring, we're going to rock Tall Rashaz, which is a given for every Sorc build. You're going to want to run this for no matter what skill that you're running, so this is a given if you do get this drop. However, you can apply something else here. And then for our amulet, Eye of the Evade, Unstoppable Vampiric Curse. However, you're going to want to put this on another ability. More than likely, you're going to want to rock something else on your amulet. More than likely, either the barrier damage or the Ball Lightning damage. I will need to swap these out eventually, and I will. So just go ahead and swap those and put that on the amulet. I'll have that on the build guide. If you do go to that link down below, you can see that those will be swapped out. As you'll see here, currently we are almost maxed capped with our resistances, which is really good. This does apply to our Paragon board as well. And we do have high amounts of armor overall and high intelligence. Again, overall, this should about cover it for the entire build itself. If you are having any questions, let me know down below. If you enjoyed today's video, like and subscribe, and until the next one. Deuces.